like anyone to like come in with one angle, such as music and art, and be able to expand that universe in whatever way they wish, because the tools are just right there, and it's all transparent and open.
Exactly.
Um, so we got some questions from Twitter. I'm read some of these. So at KCI 900, what inspired Jay and other artists to venture into streaming besides the expanded control that artists have over revenue generation, promotion, and release dates?
I don't think we had a choice to expand into streaming. It's the next format, and if you're going to be a functioning artist, you have to participate in what is now the dominant format in just 6 years. Um, I was fortunate enough to see it 6 years prior, but today it's the dominant format, and we didn't have a choice to participate in streaming. That's just the way the industry moved. Was that a two-part question? I think.
No, that was good. Um, so let's see. We got a question from Sophia M. Zeller. How do you see the use case for blockchain tech evolving in the media and entertainment sector, specifically with the growth of streaming services? So, Jay, you've spoken about like streaming as a format, and you mentioned earlier like NFTs, but just from your perspective, how do you see all this technology, and like what excites you and what concerns you?
Um, more so exciting. Like the things that excite me is again a way to have a transparent transaction with people who make art and who consume art. If you look at the way that it works for painters, specifically artists. If I'm, one of my favorites, Basquiat. I know he's sick of me bringing him up, but he's amazing. If you look at Basquiat, someone like Basquiat who made a painting in '83 that was sold for 2,500, um, bought for 2,500, and then sold for 10,000. And then in 2020 or 19, recently, it sold for $110 million, and his family, or no one, involved, um, seen any sort of uh, profit from that. And I just don't think that's right. With these blockchains and these smart contracts, you can write the contract today to say any sale that happens, I want to receive 10% or 30%, or you can write it out 50% on the first one, 40% on the next. There's so many things, so many creative ways you can, participate and let others participate. It's a new way of, again, and it's recorded there, so it's very transparent. There's no hiding behind any fancy words and lawyers, etc., etc. And I want to be clear, I'm not anti anything. I'm not anti lawyers or anti label. I'm just really pro artist. I'm pro artist, and I've always been, um, since the beginning. And anything that benefits the relationship between people who consume art and love art and the people who are making it is, that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the technology points to just more openness, more participation. You look at Bitcoin and how it enables people anywhere in the world to contribute and to become artists themselves, and also to receive tips or grants or donations without having to go through any third parties. There's a lot of power on that. And I think the spirit of what NFTs represent, the spirit of just looking critically at how artists are compensated and improving that, is something that we want to spend a lot of time and a lot of our focus on going forward, to make sure that we're just looking deeply at entirely new ways to give artists the right tools to help them, and to build. Um, we got one more question, and then we're going to bring up our special guest here. So let's see. As a longtime Tidal user, I am most excited about the original content on the platform. Are there plans to expand this? And if so, what is the strategy? and Timeline by at MLFTW1. Can you just speak to like the history of like everything you've done around editorial and curation and content, and why that was important to Tidal's success?
I think the because we were solely focused on music and artists, we did things that were just a part of the culture. I guess one of the best examples is the way that we don't have anything to do with verses, but the way Tidal interacts with that. If it's popular in the culture and it moves in the culture, we want to be nimble enough to like react to that. Um, so we were just reacting to anything that was going on. Um, um, and yeah, we'll continue to do that because again, we are specifically artist driven. So anything that's moving in the culture, we want to be involved in it or reactive to it. Or so I don't have a timeline for that because it's actively happening like daily on a daily basis. Um, So, yeah, obviously we hope to continue that and refine it and learn from, you know, Tidal went through a lot of iterations, and a lot of mistakes, and a lot of a lot of backlash, and we learned we took our lumps, and we responded in kind, and so yeah, we'll continue to do that because the mission and the intention of what we want to do is right. I believe we're on the side of right, and whether we get there today or 10 years from now, um, I can't tell. I can't put a time on that, but we will continue to be part of the conversation and part of the culture and part of creating tools and analytics and et cetera, et cetera. As we learn more, the site will continue to develop in a positive way.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's one more question before I guess. With Tidal, what are some immediate priorities that Square is hoping to address post acquisition? So I'll just speak to this. We have a 100-day plan that's focused, number one, on just looking at integration potential. So like what exists between Tidal, Square, and Cash App. What can we do to immediately integrate to make it better for artists, to give them more tools to really add to what they're able to and enable them in entirely new ways. The second is around the listening experience and improving that as much as we can. So tools, listening experience, and then third is really around looking at the newer technologies, looking at the what NFT is trying to say and the spirit behind it, and what we can do to help an artist with these newer technologies. Um, so that's our first 100 days. You'll hopefully you all see some action this year, and we'll keep the conversation ongoing as we announce it. Now I'm going to bring up two artists that Tidal chose to have a conversation with. The first is named Olivia. Olivia, I'm going to ask you to join as a speaker. And Olivia is from Detroit,
Hello.
25-year-old songwriter. Hello, how are you?
Hi. I'm great. How are you guys
You hear
doing?
us? Thanks for joining us.
Hey,
Yeah.
So
hey, welcome.
you
Thank
were
you.
one of Tidal's Unplugged winners, and you also won a John Lennon Songwriting Award and current winner of the Great American Song Contest. And Olivia, while I get our other artists up, I think you have some questions as well.
I do. Yeah, I'd really prefer that you read all my shortcomings and not all the good things before I started speaking. So I was very fortunate to be chosen as one of 5 independent artists from Detroit to receive the Title Unplugged program award. And really, it's just been nothing but wonderful artist-centric serving assets since then. From the easy use platform, the like highest audio quality, stream payments. It's just all been really wonderful. And I guess the one thing that Title is missing, from my perspective, is an artist portal. So I wondered if you guys were planning to create an artist portal where artists could see the direct analytics and, have access to personalize their own artist pages.
Um, Jack, you want to speak to that? Because I
Yeah.
You spoke a bit to it earlier. Absolutely. That's absolutely part of the plan. And so I guess my answer is yes, but maybe Jack could speak further to it.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely yes. We, you know, that I think the biggest opportunity we saw, Jay and I, when we had our initial conversations, was just the tools. Artists have very few access to data, to information, to analytics, and there's not enough direct connection to those tools, and the tool space is rather weak in comparison to other industries. And the individual tools are strong in parts, but the connection between all the tools to make it easy on artists for to see everything that's happening around them, to manage a store, for instance, which is something we're excited about doing, is just adding commerce abilities as well, but also just making it easy to collaborate, to publish, to take away all the friction points that most artists have to go through just to get something out in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, really, like I said, Tidal's by far and away the most equal of all of the platforms, and just from my perspective, it's like it's not a couple of artists are favored or a couple projects are favored. It's just consistently, whether you're independent or you're signed or wherever you come from, what music you make, it's you have a shot, of being heard and of making the music that you like. And so that would be amazing to have that.
It was a great question. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's a
thank you.
great question.
Right.
Can't find our other artist. If 26AR, if you're out there, and if you're logged into a different account, log into your 26AR account and just let me know, and we'll bring you up on stage. But Olivia, what has been your biggest challenge as an artist coming into the industry, and like what else would you like to see fixed, and like where should Title focus beyond portal?
Well, like you guys were speaking earlier, I started, I'm young, but I started touring when I was like 14 or 15. I just started opening for songwriters on the road. And so back then it was a completely different industry. It wasn't streaming centric. I had physical CDs. I just, valued that, but I don't think people value that the same anymore. And that's totally fine. But I guess like as an independent artist, the toughest thing to wrap my head around is that in order to get listeners, to get new listeners on a mass scale, you either have to be, placed in a Netflix show or placed on playlists. And so I wondered if, again, if you guys had any plans to make the playlist more equitable for women, for minorities, for all genres. How many people are working on the playlists? I don't know if this is too broad of a question, but um, again, just serving artists as best as possible.
Yeah, Jay, you want to speak to the history? I mean, this is definitely something that I think sets Title apart from others, is its focus on curation and editorial, and a good balance between humans and algorithms. And I think the team has done an amazing job at being relevant to the culture as it's happening. When you open up the app, you see it reflected back to you instantly, and that's a strength and something that I think we should certainly build upon.
Yeah, I think in the beginning everything was like super manual. I was making playlists and people were making playlists. We were creating um, content in house as we worked on the algorithm, and we built and built, and it got really good. And if you play a song now, you could just pretty much let Tidal fly, and I promise you, you're gonna find new music, new amazing music that you've never heard before. I found so many songs. My playlist game is A++. I challenge anyone out there. I see a lot of people on this call, like I'm not gonna call it individual names, but um, I'm definitely, you know, in the top tier of the playlist creators. I'm laughing. I'm laughing. And but really, yeah, the again in the beginning, it was a lot of content we were pushing, and we did a lot of work with the engineers, and now the algorithm is caught up to you know to what we were doing. So but we'll always maintain a human element because that's where it comes from. You can't duplicate the heart and spirit and people that's in the office working really hard and care what's going on and know what's happening in culture minute by minute and